Hi guys, so I'm going to do today's reading. I decided to pick an interesting topic with some things coming out of the news. We have a potential that the Trump administration is talking about maybe having a vaccine come out maybe by October. That seems a little rushed, but there's a lot of talk about him really trying to get a vaccine out by at least by the election. Now, I made some notes here. Let me grab my book because I'm going to forget it. I actually read one of the science internet sites. I think it's called sciencemag.org. But, people are kind of wondering, well, do they have to go through clinical trials? We know this, right? There would have to be, checking, certain people. I think they're right now testing 30,000 or something like that. But there is something that Trump has going on called Operation Warp Speed. So he's really trying to rush a vaccine. Okay, that should tell you right there, Operation Warp Speed, a rush for a vaccine. Okay, now apparently there is a way that it can go through quicker through the FDA without a ton of trials. And what that's called, and I had to write it down because I'm not good with this stuff, Emergency Use Authorization, EUA. In cases where there is an emergency, like for instance a pandemic, they can skip some steps to get a vaccine out there. And apparently the Trump administration has put about $10 billion into this to get a vaccine going. So it's very possible we could see one before Election Day. But I want to check tarot and see if that is possible. Of course, see what kind of spirit has to say on it. Oh, and if you check my last read, check my community comments. If you watched my last read and I was like, who is the Queen of Cups? Apparently I did find her, and I do believe it's her, because one of the things I said is the Queen of Cups was showing in my layouts, like, who is this woman? And I told you guys, you saw me, that a mystery woman would emerge, this Queen of Cups, and she would have something to say, that something was going to come down, it was going to be pretty big. And shortly after I did that video, I watched a couple other tarot readers, Lita Rodriguez, another one, she was also getting Queen of Cups, so I was very intrigued how we're getting this woman. But I watched two other tarot readers that were reading on current events for their own situations, like with Trump and various things. And I watched two in one day, and they both got Queen of Cups. And so then the lid is blown off that Dawn Wooten, a nurse at the ICE detention center in Georgia, claims that they were doing mass hysterectomies of immigrant women. And some of you, if you've been watching on your Facebook, probably have seen this pop up as news. But this is a big thing. And it fits very nicely with the Queen of Cups, because the Queen of Cups can be a healer. They're empathic, the emotion, they're a caregiver because of those, the water elements and so forth. So being a healer is not far off from the Queen of Cups. But especially, I just had picked up on that this was coming, and sure enough, here's this woman, blowing the whistle that this is going on. So look for more of that in the news. I feel like once they start really investigating and checking out some of these medical records, if they've even kept records on half this stuff, you know what I'm saying? But there's some big stuff going on. So that's her. I know that's the woman that was meant to emerge from the shadows, as I told you, with something significant to say. So let's see what's going on with this vaccine. Will there be one at least by election? That's the question I'm going to ask. We're going to see what's going on. Now, one of the things I asked Spirit is to show me an ace. An ace to represent the vaccine. And it looks like we got one. That's a shadow card right there. So that's perfect. Ace of Swords right there. So that's going to represent the vaccine, because that's what I asked the Spirit to show. That's a shadow card. I want you to note that is a shadow card. We'll see if any other aces pop up. But that's one of the things I wanted. I wanted ace to represent the vaccine. Now, the good thing is it's upright, but I want to check the surrounding cards to emphasize this vaccine. But we've got the Ace of Swords. Okay, now one of the things I want you to kind of think about with the Ace of Swords, it can be a positive, that is potential, but it's a double-edged sword. Okay, it is double-edged. So it can take on either positive or negative connotations in what happens. We know a sword, the sword of truth, good things, it can clear away, certain things that are negative and turn it into a positive, but it also can, it can take people's lives, right? It's one of the things that Ace of Swords can do. And it's fitting that it shows as a shadow card, okay? Got another ace. It's another shadow card is emerged at the bottom of the deck. As you can see, is the Ace of Cups in the reverse position. Okay, now I kind of look at that, and these aces are popping up. That if that is going to be a stable vaccine there. And I also kind of look at the public and whether they would accept it or not, obviously. We may not be too in love with this vaccine. Focus. So we've got two shadow cards to represent the vaccine, the Ace of Swords, and crossing is the Ace of Cups in the reverse position. Now I do take note, we've got the pathway here, we've got the Two of Wands. So we're kind of looking at, we've got two directions we could go. Now, I want you to kind of note, let me put it upward so you can kind of see it. One leads to the nice, bright, and sunny. The other leads to stormy skies here. So I notice in the reverse position right now, they are exploring the possibilities. This is very much a possibilities card. Now, I do feel the medical professionals do want to lead to the sunny skies. They want to do it right. But I look at that. If they rush this, they know that it could lead to a storm. It could be negative. The past position, I've got the Tower. So this is in the past position. So this is not necessarily what's coming. But we've got everything has been chaos because of COVID. We know the negative connotations with this. Now, I do take note, I've got the Lovers in the reverse position. Now, when I kind of look at this, I feel like this is the Trump administration and the FDA. They're not quite lovers, you could say. They're not very well connected. They don't necessarily love each other. Let's put it that way. So we've got a little bit of a disagreements between the two. They're at odds at the moment. They're not connected is what we've got. There's no love lost. I guess that's the best word I could come up with. There is no love lost. Now, I've got the Nine of Cups here. As I kind of look at this, I want you to kind of look. He looks very content with his achievements, right? That's the way he kind of looks. Notice he's holding that cup there. Okay, we've got the Ace of Cups in the reverse position here. That is the crossing card. And then notice he is holding a cup. So this is the way Trump wants to be. Look at all my achievements. And not only have I achieved so much, and I've done such a great job with this coronavirus. This is what he sells, okay? Look what I have for you. Out of the chaos, out of our Tower moment, I have something to give you to make it all go away and perfect. This is what he's wishing for, as it is a wishing card. But this, I want you to kind of see representing that this could be that offering to the public to kind of save the day. He wants this done before the election. This is what you need to understand, folks. This is what he wants done. He wants this done before the election to make himself look good and have this accomplishment on his record. And he wants to take credit for it. You know, not the doctors or anything else, but himself to take credit for it. But this is kind of the offering here. You know, this is what he's wishing for. So he's going to really push this, guys. He's going to really push for this to happen here. I've got the Strength card in the reverse position. Now, what this kind of makes me feel as I'm focusing on this vaccine is if there is one, Ace of Swords here, Ace of Cups reversed, if there is a vaccine unleashed, I say unleashed, okay, if it's put out into the public and distributed, it's not going to be strong enough to fight COVID. That is what I feel. 18 and over for entertainment purposes only, okay? I do want to remind on that. Now, I've got the Devil's reverse. Now, I want you to kind of notice one of the things Devils does is chains the lovers. So I have a feeling one of the things that we've got here going on is I feel that you could say the FDA is going to get away from this being chained, you could say, so to speak, and so forth, you know, with this administration. And I have a feeling they're really going to want to fight it. You know, no love lost, right? That they're really going to fight that. This is not a good thing. We don't want to do this. They're really going to try to break free of these chains that the White House is going to put on them. Now, I want you to kind of notice we talked about the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups in the reverse position. I want you to kind of see that that person seems to be ignoring that cup. So we've got this situation where the Trump administration, you know, like Trump, he really wants to be the one who comes in and saves the day. Look what I've got for you. I've got the magic potion to make this all go away. He really wants to be heroic. But this is going to be the attitude of a lot of people. You see how they're just like, nope, nope, I want nothing to do with that cup, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of people that don't trust it. You know, that's the way a lot of people are at the moment. I do have the card in the environment, the world. You know, and I know the majority of people, we just want to go into a new cycle that is positive. We just want everything in the world to get stabilized. So on the other hand, we have people that would refuse, but there's other people who would probably, you know, be willing to take a chance and take this vaccine. You know, we just want to go in that new cycle. Now, I've got in the hopes and fears position the Eight of Swords. I would take this as a fear. I have seen this for Trump when we are really not wanting to go to jail. It's like, I just want to get elected. I don't want to go to jail. You know, this is a big fear of his. So he's willing. This is what you guys need to understand. He's willing to put out something, you know, something to get it out there. You know, this vaccine, you know, to push it. This is my concern, my outcome. Knight of Wands. Okay, Knight of Wands is especially about action, you know, fierce action, you know, and going forward, you know, with fury, you know, getting out there. So I have a feeling in looking at this and taking action and stepping forward like the Knight does. He just kind of rushes out there and gets it going on. That I have a feeling we're going to have, you know, an actual vaccine. Now, during some side ones, I've got the Knight of Swords. You know, I feel this is actually him. You know, I've got that, you know, we worry about, you know, the jail. But he is not feeling too good about himself right now. You know, he's really nervous. And, you know, he's having a lot of sleepless nights and unrest. So, you know, this is the thing that this, you know, he kind of looks at can be his saving grace to get this vaccine out there. You know, he's just trying to come up with anything he can. But he's actually pretty depressed right now. He's pretty depressed. Now, I do look at the Two of Cups situation. Now, we talked about the FDA and so forth. You know, when we've got this, there is an option that they could kind of bypass some of the additional trials that they would have to go through. But I feel like, okay, maybe we're no love lost with the FDA, but I feel like he is going to come up with some kind of an agreement with someone. And I look at that with that potential, where they're going to make some kind of an arrangement here, some kind of friendly interaction. So I kind of look at that. Some people aren't too fond of him, but I feel like there's going to be some kind of friendly exchange with someone. And that is part of the reason we will get this going. Now, I just drew the Two of Pentacles. I'm going to have that be my last card. I have a feeling there may be two options. I also kind of take note of that because the Two of Wands was the one below it. We've got twos. So I have kind of a feeling here we may have a couple of options on the table. So in my assessment, those aces popped up, and that was one of the things. I'm like, show me aces to represent the vaccine. And two aces, they are shadow cards. As I was shuffling, they popped, said put them down. Okay, so the aces did show only in the shadow position. That is concerning. But I do have a feeling, looking at my outcome being the Knight of Wands and knowing how bad he wants something out there, I have a feeling that there is going to be something presented. Also because I've got this here, and I do feel some people are going to refuse it. Not everybody's going to do this, and I don't feel it'll come down to a situation where the government force, if anybody's worried about that, I don't feel they would go so far as to make it mandatory. Okay, I don't feel they can do that. That would be, how can you do that? So I don't feel it'll be a situation like that. But yeah, looking at the aces showing, aces upright for the Ace of Swords, and looking at kind of some of this stuff going on, I know he definitely wants it, but looking at the Knight of Wands in the outcome, which is about kind of rushing, he kind of rushes in there. The Knight of Wands, if you ever look at him in most tarot decks, there's a lot of force and energy behind the wand. I have a feeling that we're going to have something out before election. Would I take it? I mean, come on. I mean, that's crazy. But I do have a feeling that they're going to put something out there. I don't feel they will. It would probably, in my assessment, actually I want to draw a card for that. I'm going to draw one more. Yeah, I drew the Magician, and that represents all the aces. All the aces are always in the Magician card. So I have a feeling the means of distribution, looking at the four aces showing with the Magician, could be a little bit here or there. They may have test areas, or it may be tested on certain people, like maybe just the elderly or people with certain conditions and things like that. They may go in that way, not necessarily hit it to every single individual, unless somehow Trump finds a way to do that. And it'll be interesting. Let's see what happens election if they get that out.